Another weekend, the Tribble remains untrimmed, unshaved. The balding Tribble stays. Oh, and it turns out there really was no excuse for me not knowing who the villain this season on The Flash was. Because it turns out I've been reading a story in a trade that's where he's the villain. No, I had no idea this was coming up. This is pure chance. I just got this out of the library by pure chance. It's the Thinker. Look, I'm reading a story with him as the villain right now. Really should have seen this coming. So, don't pay any attention to what I say. I'm an idiot. The theme this week on The Flash seems to be that Barry and Cisco are idiots. First of all, they're fighting a villain that can hack into everything. Any technology at all. Anything with computer chips, I guess. And Cisco has loaded up Barry's suit with a bunch of tech. Believe it or not, that's not the stupid part. Barry plans the whole wedding with Iris at super speed without telling her. And Cisco calls Gypsy across 18 dimensions for a date only to blow her off. And neither of them suspect that they're in trouble for these actions. This is Bertie Wooster level dumb. I mean, it's like, oh, wait a sec, I think even Bertie Wooster would sidestep this catastrophe. I don't know who it is, but it's somebody's level of dumb. Yeah. So the story is your basic Flash story. It's fine. Angry tech genius, who was working in Silicon Valley, got his idea stolen by his friends. Although, in their defense, he did leave it just sitting around. He did leave it just sitting around someplace where they all worked and didn't touch it for years, apparently. I think it's the same. I think it's the same rule with. I think it's the same rule with fridge food for computer programs. If there's no sign of you touching it and you haven't labeled it, and you have a history of just leaving things in the fridge till they go bad, it's up for grabs. That's my theory on computer programming. Let me know how wrong I am in the comments. So Barry and Wally have to save these computer programmers after he kills one and he had 3 lab partners and he kills one of them and threatens 2 of them, and Barry and the rest of them have to save them. Barry's suit goes haywire in a scene that's reminiscent of one of the classic Flash panels I'm pretty sure I've seen from the Silver Age. And we get more hints as to what the Thinker is doing, and that he's the one giving people computer powers, and that he's putting a team of 12 together. My guess is it'll be this universe's version of the Rogues. A lot of the traditional rogues they've already used. So my guess is that it'll be their choice of what's left. The producer's choice of what's left. But and we see that Barry locking this guy up is exactly where the Thinker wants these people. So this is a, so yes, this is a more interesting villain than we've had in a while. So than we've had, I think, since the first Wells, really. I think, or you know, Eobard Fawn. How do you even spell that first name? Eobard. Who names their kid Eobard? Who would do that to a kid? No wonder he turned into a supervillain. But I digress. Uh, but so after this whole mix-up, Cisco has to dig himself out of a hole. Most of the episode is based on the more comedic ante of them trying to of Barry and Cisco trying to dig themselves out of the graves they've dug. I think Cisco has an easier time. Barry actually not only dug himself a grave, he leaped in head first and then covered himself and placed the tombstone. So Iris suggests they go for couples counseling. This I'm kind of fine with, except that they drop a lot of hints about who Barry actually is in there. Like, for instance, they're talking about deaths that have bothered them in the past, and they mentioned Snart. Okay, I can see why they're bothered by that. After all, he redeemed himself, and the Flash was a huge part of him redeeming himself, and yeah, did kind of they did kind of develop some sort of friendship. Okay, I understand it from their character's perspective, but how does this sound to the counselor? You tell me. All the counselor knows is that Snart is a notorious murderer and thief who just went missing and isn't dead. Suddenly, they give her information the police don't even know, and these people who have no reason to even know him are upset by his death. Would that raise a few red flags if you were this counselor? Maybe. Yeah. Also, Iris doesn't try to tell Barry that there's something wrong before she decides that they need couples counseling because they're not communicating. If she's known him all his life, shouldn't she know by now that he is very bad at telling when he's gotten himself into trouble? He digs himself holes and he has no idea of it. And he thinks he's building a skyscraper when really he's digging himself a grave. That's Barry. Shouldn't she have tried to tell him that there was then she can say that they have trouble communicating, it would seem to me, but hey, what do I know? But then, yeah, Iris does a little bit of damage to her character. I can only imagine the kind of trauma and shock she's going through this whole time. But she goes into a trope I complained with on the Defenders, and I've given it a label now. It's the "how dare you save the world" badge. It's when the whole world was going to die, the hero was the only one who could make the sacrifice play. The hero makes that sacrifice play, and the love interest, and it's only ever females that get mad about this. She gets mad at him for making that sacrifice play, even though she wouldn't be around to be mad at him if he didn't, and people were literally dying every second that he wasted. You saw last season, the whole Earth was blowing up. The universe was just seconds from blinking out of existence. And she got mad that he didn't turn around and talk to her about it and get her opinion on whether or not he should go. What was there to discuss? I don't get it. And Iris isn't this petty. At least she wasn't this petty in the first 2 seasons of the show. Now all of a sudden, since she put her in a relationship, how come writers stop knowing how to write female characters that I like once they put them in a relationship? Just write her as the same strong character who understands that sometimes you have to make the sacrifice play. That, I mean, she didn't harbor any ill will towards Eddie for shooting himself to save the universe, and she, I mean, come on. Is this the same show where we didn't see her get mad at him because Eddie killed himself because to stop Reverse Flash from messing with Barry's life and causing this, and where Caitlin didn't blame him for the death of her fiance that came about because of those same events, both of which were linked to them. They wrote both of these female characters so strong, and now they're writing them so messed up and weak and just like, ugh, I don't know. Caitlin is a little more fun to watch, although she's still hiding that she's Killer Frost from all these people, and I have no idea why, since she knows that they're the only people on Earth who have the ability to help her. So why would you hide it from these people? And they've proven they can help her in the past, so why? And she doesn't seem to be taking any steps herself to control it. But other than that, she's fun to watch in this episode of her for a few seconds. So overall, average Flash plot. Yeah, nothing special there. Definitely some fun moments watching Barry and Cisco dig themselves a hole, and they are right. Coming out of the Speed Force, the Flash, he is getting closer and closer to his comic book and cartoon counterpart. He's acting more and more like the Flash that I'm reading in the comics, and that at least from Jeff Jones' run, which is what I'm working my way through in the comics, and from the Justice League cartoon. So the final score for this episode is 6 out of 10. It still got a ways to go, but this was a more fun episode, and it was definitely worth watching. Yeah, there are some irritating character moments, but it seems to be coming with the territory with the Flash this season. So, yeah, but overall, a decent hour of TV.